Brian, welcome to Westport.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you giving the time, and we have a couple of questions we'd like to ask you.
Absolutely.
To keep for our Facebook page. When did you first get involved with the club?
I'm here since the start of the summer. I got a phone call one evening from Jerry, and he asked me if I'd be free to do a little bit with the juniors. And from the first Sunday we came down, the place is just, straight away the enthusiasm in the place just strikes you. It's great, and the lads are all doing very, very well. And don't forget Aaron as well, lads and ladies. But no, it's great to be involved. I'm delighted to be involved. And at this time of the year, I suppose everyone's a bit busier, so we don't get down quite as often. But try and get down once a month.
And overall, having seen what you've seen, what do you think of the facilities in the club?
Oh, it's great, absolutely fantastic. You can see the passion behind everything here, and how much work is going into it. You have a good bunch of people there that drive the club on, and that's what keeps clubs like this going. It's great. There's a bit of a revival in the West at the moment, I think, with clubs like Westport just making a big push. It's great to see it.
In terms of young people starting to play, what's the age? What would you recommend?
There's no age really. It doesn't really matter. I would suggest that anybody that has a racket at home, whether it's an old wooden one or top of the range one, and just having it there that kids can play with it, hidden balloons around the house, sponge balls, whatever's there, hidden stones out the back garden. It doesn't matter at all. Just to have them, just to have them around it, and the bug will bite soon enough as they get old enough.
And in terms of equipment for young people starting, what's the minimum they need to get going?
So that's probably one of the strengths of Westport. It's great because in lots of clubs you have to have a certain amount of gear before you can get involved. But very forward-thinking club here, and they have all the equipment. All you have to do is join up, and all the equipment is there available for you. Rackets, balls, goggles, all that. It's fantastic. So the answer to that, if you're lucky enough to be in the local vicinity, you just get involved with the club, and it's all there for you. So it's great.
And in terms of other clubs and juniors and other clubs, have you been involved with other clubs in training?
Yeah, I've probably I've been around squash for a long time, and took a little bit of a break when I moved over here first. I'm from Carlow originally, but Carlow has always had a great junior program as well. And everywhere I go, I seem to pick up the racket and row in with the local community in terms of the local squash community anyway. So it's great. It's a kind of a passport for everybody to travel, and you'll make friends and get into the community and whatever else. It's a great way to socialise.
Have you seen an improvement in skill levels?
Oh, without a doubt. They have a wonderful coach, so it's I don't know. They're so enthusiastic. It's great. Yeah. They work hard, and I know that when I leave, they're still here. They're working together, and they're here with Jerry and with the other guys, and it's great. It's great but you can see it in the game, and it'll only go from strength to strength.
In terms of younger players that show potential, does Irish squash offer support programs or support mechanisms to bring kids on a bit?
I suppose realistically, it's only when children start playing on. There's an Irish tour that there'll be competitions in each of the provinces and things like that. And I suppose once you start playing locally in your club, the first sort of port of call is trying to make the interprovincial teams and try and get into the development squads in the interprovincials. Once that, if you manage to do that, then you progress on to Irish teams and stuff like that. And Irish squash are very, very strong. They have European number ones at under 13, under 15, and under 19. They're really at the moment in junior squash Ireland, it's starting to become, people are starting to take notice. They're very strong, but I would recommend anyone that has potential and that wants to get involved in these things to go and play competitions. And you'll be out of your comfort zone a little bit at the start, but once you start to get a feel for how things go, it's amazing. It's hard to leave it behind. It really is.
And that kind of takes us into the last question. Really, is what advice would you give players who are debating with themselves should they take it up or not?
Well, I think the beauty of squash for me is that, you know, regardless of you know, your talent or what age you are or whatever else, if you find somebody that's of similar standard, you can really have a great game. And you know, two guys that have only just recently picked up a racket running around will get just as much enjoyment out of two guys that are playing 20 years and are dab hands at it. But really just to play as much as you can, have the racket in your hand as much as you can. And for juniors, I think that, to me, I think a lot of people can be afraid of going away to the tournaments and stuff like that because they see the standard is very high. And as I mentioned, you know, the standard on for the domestic tour with the kids is incredibly strong. So it's very daunting for a junior to turn up in Galway or Sligo or Dublin or wherever it is and to see these guys that you know seem invincible. But you know, the only way you'll get to that standard is by mixing with them and you know, getting in the thick of it and you know, getting involved. So I would suggest that anyone that has the interest to make the effort and travel. And I know it's a big commitment as well for parents, but I think you know, parents would rather see their kids go around the country and around the world playing squash, you know, than other things. There's a lot more stuff we do.
Right, thanks very much.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.